The film opens in the 1950s with a sweeping shot of a small Italian village by the sea. A young boy named Luca grows up surrounded by laughter, hardship, and music. His father, a fisherman, teaches him resilience while his mother instills a love for art. One evening, Luca sketches his family by candlelight, unaware it will be his life's calling. The village priest notices his talent and encourages him to pursue education. But poverty forces Luca to choose between helping his family and chasing dreams. Teenage Luca works on fishing boats at dawn, yet spends nights sketching portraits. A traveling painter passing through the village sees his drawings and is astonished. He offers Luca a chance to apprentice in Florence, far away from home. Luca's father resists, fearing the boy will lose his roots. His mother, however, secretly gives him money and urges him to go. With heavy heart and excitement, Luca boards a train, leaving behind the sea. In Florence, Luca is overwhelmed by grand architecture and endless art. He apprentices under Maestro Bellini, a stern but brilliant painter. The maestro pushes him beyond limits, forcing precision and emotion in every stroke. Luca's sketches of ordinary people impress even the wealthy patrons. But he struggles with loneliness, missing his family and his simple village life. One letter from his mother keeps him grounded, a never forget who you are. As years pass, Luca becomes well known in Florence's art circles. He paints nobles, politicians, and wealthy merchants. But deep down he feels something missing. His art lacks soul. One evening he paints a poor beggar woman, capturing her hardship and dignity. This painting stirs an emotional response unlike any of his commissioned works. He realizes greatness lies not in pleasing the rich, but in honoring truth. Luca gains notoriety for portraying the beauty of everyday lives. His art is seen as revolutionary, too raw for some, yet deeply human. Critics praise his magnificent eye, while others accuse him of disrespecting tradition. During an exhibition, he meets Isabella, a bold writer advocating for social justice. They bond over shared passion for representing real people. Soon, their friendship blossoms into a tender romance. War erupts across Europe and Florence falls into turmoil. Luca is pressured to create propaganda paintings glorifying leaders. He refuses, risking his career and reputation. Isabella is arrested for publishing a critical article. Desperate, Luca paints a hidden series honoring the oppressed. These works, though unseen publicly, give him strength to endure the chaos. Luca narrowly escapes arrest by fleeing Florence with Isabella's help. They return to his coastal village, where he finds his parents much older. His father has grown ill, unable to fish, and his mother weeps with joy at his return. Luca sets up a modest studio in the village, teaching children to paint. Isabella encourages him to write about his journey as well. For the first time, he feels truly at peace. When peace returns, Luca is invited to Rome for a major exhibition. He debates leaving his village again, torn between fame and family, his father's last advice before passing. Share your gift, son, but never forget us. Luca decides to attend, bringing his most heartfelt paintings. The exhibition stuns audiences, especially his portraits of fishermen and villagers. Critics call it a magnificent life captured on canvas. Success floods in, commissions, awards, and international recognition. But Luca insists on living simply, refusing wealth and grandeur. He and Isabella marry quietly, their wedding celebrated by the village. They travel, with Isabella writing and Luca sketching the people they meet. Together they publish illustrated books that capture the struggles and joys of ordinary lives. The couple becomes a beacon of art and humanity. Years later, Luca is invited to Paris to showcase his work. He is honored by the world's most prestigious art academies, but he feels uneasy with the pomp and luxury surrounding him. In a quiet gallery room, he sees his painting of the beggar woman. He whispers to himself, "Oh, she is why I paint." Even amid fame, Luca knows his heart belongs to the forgotten. As decades pass, Luca's health begins to decline. He loses strength in his hands, struggling to hold a brush. Isabella remains his anchor, encouraging him to keep creating. He starts mentoring young artists who carry forward his philosophy. His studio becomes a sanctuary of learning and compassion. Where we're learning and compassion. Though his body weakens, his spirit shines brighter. One student, a poor orphan named Marco, reminds Luca of his younger self. Marco has raw talent, but no guidance until Luca takes him under his wing. The boy learns discipline, passion, and purpose through Luca's teachings. Isabella writes about their bond, calling it the cycle of art and life. Through Marco, Luca feels his legacy will live on. The old maestro has found his successor. Tragedy strikes when Isabella falls gravely ill. Luca is devastated, painting her portrait daily as she fades. She passes peacefully, holding his hand, whispering, "You leave magnificently." Her loss nearly breaks him, and he contemplates abandoning art forever. But Marco convinces him that Isabella's spirit lives within his paintings. Luca decides to honor her through one final masterpiece. He begins his most ambitious work, a massive mural in the village church. The mural depicts the struggles and triumphs of ordinary people. Fishermen, mothers, workers, children, all portrayed with dignity and light. It becomes a community project with villagers helping him paint. Even weakened, Luca pours every ounce of his being into the work. The mural is hailed as his greatest masterpiece. Word spreads and people from across the world travel to see the mural. Art critics call it the culmination of a magnificent life. Luca, now old and frail, smiles as children run around the church. He knows his work will outlive him, carrying forward his message. Marco continues teaching, inspired by his mentor's humility. The village becomes a small but powerful center for art. In his final years, Luca writes his memoirs with Marco's help. He reflects not on fame, but on love, family, and truth in art. He recalls his father's nets, his mother's candlelight, Isabella's fire. The memoir is published worldwide, touching millions of readers. It becomes both a record of history and a guide for artists. On a quiet evening, Luca paints his last self-portrait. His frail reflection stares back, yet his eyes glow with peace. He signs it with trembling hands, whispering Isabella's words again. Days later, he passes in his sleep, surrounded by students and Marco. The village mourns, but also celebrates the life he lived. He is buried beside Isabella, overlooking the sea. After his death, Luca's work spread across museums worldwide, but the mural in his village remains the most cherished. Tourists flock, not just to see art, but to feel its spirit. Marco dedicates his life to protecting Luca's legacy. The village transforms into an artistic haven, honoring his vision. His name becomes synonymous with truth and art. Generations later, children in the village learn painting through his teachings. His story is passed down as legend, inspiring countless dreamers. A young girl discovers one of his old brushes and feels destiny calling. She paints with the same passion, carrying forward Luca's fire. The cycle of art continues, proving legacy never dies. The spirit of a magnificent life lives on in others. The film closes with a sweeping shot of the village by the sea. The mural glows in the sunlight as villagers celebrate a festival of art. Luca's voice narrates from his memoir. A life is not measured by fame, but by love and truth. The camera pans to the horizon where the sea meets the sky. A final image shows his last self-portrait beside Isabella's picture. Fade out, a magnificent life.